I am Ray Livingston, and this is my home. A nice little house down there, secondary house, chicken coop. I'm on top of the hill in the southeast corner of my property. Overlooking the Columbia River / Lake Roosevelt outside of Kettle Falls, Washington. I'm approximately 20 miles south of the U.S.-Canadian border in the northeast corner of Washington State. As you can see, I don't have many neighbors. Rural, rustic, take care of yourself kind of place. But we do have modern conveniences. I'm not living in a cabin. My dog Leroy, trained for bird hunting and search and rescue, and some of the local natives there. This is a glimpse into my life. Leroy, down. Down. Good boy. It's a life that a lot of people live and enjoy in this country and around the world. But for some reason, it's a little odd for me. That is because I'm a person of color. I'm one that's always rejected stereotypes. A lot of people look at me and they see a black man. I don't have a problem with that. That's true. What they don't see is everything else. Well, genetically speaking, 76% of my DNA comes from sub-Saharan Africa. And the other 26% is Northern European, though. I guess you could call me an Afro-Viking. And that suits me well, and really is in line with a lot of my beliefs and philosophies and my persona. You know, I enjoy the outdoors. I enjoy being out in nature. I love knowing that I can not only live, but thrive without most modern conveniences that we enjoy today. Why is that weird for a person of my complexion? Well, one of the things I also found in researching my DNA is that some of my ancestors are from the oldest genetic pool of people still walking this earth. The Kalahari Bushmen, the San, the Pygmies. I am distant descendants to them. For those that don't know about those tribes, I would encourage you to watch the video on YouTube called The Great Dance. It details the San Bushmen, and it's remarkable. They're some of the most accomplished hunters and outdoorsmen and bushcrafters that you could imagine. The relationship that the San have with nature is all but supernatural, and it speaks to the potential that we have to connect with nature as well as each other. And It's pretty amazing. So I sit here and I wonder, and this question came up on a bushcrafting group on Facebook by the name of Back to Basics, and I think it's a very fitting place for such a thing to come up. When we think of African Americans or peoples of minority in this day and age, we don't think of outdoorsmen and bushcrafters and people that are survivalists and people that can hold their own in the natural world. But the truth of the matter is, the most ancient genetic pool of people in this world are Africans. And they still live in their primitive state for the most part. And unfortunately, they're having some issues with the African government, and they're trying to push them out of their traditional lands and not allow them to hunt and live their traditional life any further in their lands. And there's definitely some efforts to help preserve their way of life going about, and I would definitely recommend and appreciate anybody that could reach out and lend a hand in that effort. But today, my focus is the fact that why, given our roots, are people of color a unicorn, really, in the bushcrafting and wilderness survival communities around the world? I don't really have an answer for that. But it's Black History Month. When we think of Black History Month and celebrating Black history, most people think about foods and dances and wearing colorful clothes. But when you break it down, Black history, past all the more modern conveniences, Black history has been about survival. Surviving animals, predators, harsh environments, drought, famine. Given the conditions that many of our ancestors have lived in and are living in, it's really remarkable that there's any of them left. Now that is survival. Wilderness survival, desert survival. So, to me, when I think of Black history, I think of the sun. I think of the remarkable connection that they have with nature. I think of the masterful hunting abilities and tracking abilities of these people. On the hottest days of the year, only the hottest days in the year, a sand hunter may go and pursue a kudu across the Kalahari Desert. And when I say pursue, I'm not talking about how we hunt in our modern days. They literally pursue it. They chase it on foot for miles and miles, 5 or 6, 7, 8 hours during the hottest days of the year. They chase that animal on foot, tracking it as they run. As the animal is a lot faster, they'll sprint ahead, try to hide, and the person behind them will lose sight of them. So they're literally tracking their movements by their ground disturbances and flora disturbances and intuition as they're running. That's amazing. in my mind, it's the pinnacle of hunters and trackers in this world. So when I think of Black history, I think of the sand. I think of people that survive and are the ultimate survivalists, that laugh at the inefficiency of our modern ways of creating a fire through friction, that laugh at the ridiculousness of a lot of our modern life. So, on this February, Black History Month, 2020, I encourage people of color, women, and really anybody to think about what our history really is and what it means to be here and what it took to get us here. The legacy of survival is one that is all of our stories. You know, we marvel at us, a lot of the things that we've accomplished in this world, but it all became possible because our ancestors understood how to survive with nothing. A friend of mine told me, if you take the history of the world, of humanity, and you condense it into 24 hours, it's been about the last 1 hour that we lived the way we do, with modern conveniences and whatnot. And up until about half hour ago, we could still provide for ourselves from the land without having to depend on others for our food, water, shelter, and whatnot. Imagine waking up one day, being able to totally care for yourself, get everything you want from the land, and lose that ability within 24 hours. That's essentially what we've done. So, on this Black History Month, I would like to encourage everyone to get back to basics, to look towards our roots, to reconnect with nature, to understand that we are part of nature. We're not something separate. To look into developing some skills, teach your children skills that will ensure that, given any situation, they'll be able to survive and thrive. You don't need to go to some far-off place to start cultivating those skills. There is plenty on the University of YouTube, and plenty that you can do in your own backyard or a park. And plenty of different people that offer instruction. I myself would be happy to share information that I've gathered with people and find some even more competent instructors on certain things to help with your education as well. You know, but as it is Black History Month and people of color are definitely underrepresented in the outdoors hunting and bushcrafting community, I would really like to encourage you guys to look at your history of survival, to understand how our ancestors made it so that you could walk the earth now in much more adverse conditions that we face just about anywhere in the United States, at least, and most places throughout the world. get out. Enjoy this beautiful world that we have. When you develop the skills, it's not so scary anymore. When you develop the understanding of the flora and the fauna, they become your friends rather than things to fear. I don't know how we got away from our survival roots, but that information is out there. And I think it would be a good way to honor our history, to reconnect with those wilderness skills and hunting, trapping, foraging. So that's what I do. Can you?